All right, everybody. My name is Kevin, and this is going to be Go Talk episode 2. Today, my wonderful guest is Matthew. Say hi to everyone, Matthew.
Hello. I should probably look at the camera.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the go board. I'm ready to go.
Oh, all right. Well, let's start. Let's get started then. Matthew is a good friend of mine. He's an AGA 6.92.
6.92. Yeah, that recently dropped.
Yeah, and then he has gone to Korea to study Go before, and he has played in the U.S. Pro Tournament before, right?
Yes.
How many times have you done that?
Twice.
Okay. And just as a wonderful note to anyone watching this and wondering how I'm going to be doing this and why I'm playing even, we are doing a reverse Komi of 30 points.
30, yeah.
30 points. So that way it's not the easiest thing for Matthew, but it's not the hardest thing for Matthew. Yeah. Actually, yeah, cool. So how have you been doing lately?
I've been doing well. I'm studying for a master's degree at UC Davis in civil engineering. And that's sort of been occupying me for the last year.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I didn't see you at Go Congress this year, so I was surprised.
Yeah, that was the first Go Congress I missed for 18 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, 18 years. That's a lot of years of Go Congress, I think. Because when I first saw you at Go Congress, you were just a little kid. Now you're actually a dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I always hate this upper left corner. I always want to approach it, but I'm always afraid of a pincer.
Oh.
But who knows?
Maybe.
So
I wasn't going to.
Oh, thank God. Unless you do, and then you betray her. So I guess let's start talking about, your experiences for going over to Korea to study. I mean, what age were you when you went?
So I went twice. The first time I went for 3 months, and that was when I was 15. I was 15. And
what rank were you?
I was 6th Dan. Very recently and not very solidly.
Okay.
But Jan was already Jan Boley, who's also 6th Dan. He was planning to go, and he just contacted my parents about it and said, "Hey, would Matt like to go with me?" And we all thought it was a good idea.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And now was this and then because I know that I think it was because of Myungwon Kim that you were able to go?
No, that was actually the second trip.
Okay, so the first trip, what was the first trip about?
The first trip we just stayed in we studied at a dojang. So someone that Jan had contacted facilitated the trip for us. That was Professor Han from Youngju University.
Okay.
He set us up on the whole trip. I stayed with a family whose son was also going to that dojang.
Oh, cool.
And, Jan had his own apartment, which was too small, sadly. Things are small there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was. I think he's over 6 feet, and he didn't have 6 feet of a length room where the bed was.
Oh,
so that was kind of an issue.
So what was? I guess let's first talk about that. So what was that like?
The first trip, the dojang studied from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. 6 days a week.
Wait, you had to be there 6 days a week, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day?
Yeah. Well, we had there was 1 hour break for lunch, and let's see, I think there were two. One day a week we went in the evenings to the Paduk English class, which was run by Professor Han, which was sort of a combination Go lesson and English class, and kind of helped out with them there.
Right.
And then, I mean, depending on the week, there were other things that we did. But yeah, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
And what typically do you have to do when you were there? Was it like mostly playing, or just like, were there classes, or was it like, what was it?
We did a lot of Go problems. Which of course were checked by the teachers there. And we had also played in their league. So we had to play one game with each of the other people in our league, which of course was the bottom league of that dojang.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we very rarely won. Each week we would play a game with everybody else in that league. And so it was those were the two primary things. We got all our games reviewed, and that's important. And yeah, so there were some additional lessons, but it was primarily studying Go problems with no answers. Of course, there were no answers in there. Right. The teachers knew the answers. And yeah, we had big books of Go problems to do, and then the league games and some additional teaching games with the professionals, and occasional side lessons, and then reviewing professionals' games. Gosh,
how did they fit all of that? Like, that's a lot of Go to take in one day.
Yeah, it was a lot. There are not many things besides Go that can, or that in my experience can both engage you for long enough with it, and keeping your brain strained for that long. It has to be engaging enough that it's fun, that you want to keep doing it, and then also be the type of thing that really does strain you. So by the end of the day, the level of brain exhaustion was more than in any other activity I've engaged in.
Speaking of exhaustion, are you really thinking this hard about the move?
No.
I was like, man, you're thinking a lot.
I may not be the best at multitasking.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, don't worry too much. Well, that's pretty cool. And so were most of the kids that you were playing mostly worrying about becoming professionals, or was it just
either? Well, they may not have been. I mean, ultimately, yes, they were. That was what they were all focused on. They had a lot riding on doing well.
Were they around your age, or were they younger?
Oh, they were all younger.
So this is like one of
the people who were at the top in the top leagues. Some of them in the top league being an upstairs room. Some of them were my age or older.
Right.
All the people that I was playing with were 8 to 11-year-olds.
Yeah, I always have felt that like you haven't really played Go until you've gotten beaten by someone like half your age.
Yeah,
it's an interesting feeling in Go where like you might spend however many years, studying the Go, and then you're just gonna end up being like, oh no, this little kid's just gonna whip me. That's like half my age. He's been playing like for a 10% of how long I've been playing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Amazing what they can pull off with graded effort. Starting young, concentrating on it really hard, really developing the intuition.
That's pretty cool. So, I mean, after the 3 weeks, were you able to see?
3 months. That was 3 months.
Oh, that was 3 months. Oh, I thought you said 3 weeks. Wow. So 3 months, 6 days a week, 3 months straight. Were you not burnt out of Go by the end of that?
Maybe a little bit. I
Right.
probably took a short break.
Right.
But yeah.
And so from that, were you able to actually see like definite results, or is it because this is the thing I've always wondered. When you're a Q and you're playing, Go, someone can show you something and it's like, oh my gosh, I can use this immediately, or okay, it's like so obvious. But then again, like with Go, or when you get stronger, there's just so many more things to think about and to keep track of that when you're done, progress is much harder to feel or measure, So after those 3 months, or even during those 3 months, was there anything that said like you can feel a change, or was it still just like, I hope this pays off in the end?
I think I was really only able to recognize it in retrospect. Like from later on, it was hard to feel it at the time. I think, but I mean, definitely after that was the most Go problems I'd ever done. And
that
so
wasn't really
I could at least feel that I was getting better at Go problems.
So that wasn't like, because I mean, like, you're one of the few people that have like, American born and like, started Go and got to the rank you are. So I mean, like, you didn't really do Go problems that much, like just growing up or whatever.
Well, certainly, not that much. We'd had, I think for a long time, we'd had sort of a, just a small bit every day, kind of a Go playing schedule. It was, I mean, I had Go lessons once a week with Yilun Yang.
Was he your first teacher?
Before that, I was playing games once a week with Kevin Chow.
Okay.
And before that, I was just learning from my dad and of course Yoshi.
Oh, okay, cool. But that's, wow. So you've all had like a wonderful history of stronger players. How strong is Kevin Chow? 5-dan, I think.
Yeah.
Kevin Chow's 5-dan. So I guess after 3 months of that, you must have thought, I can't wait to go back and repeat this experience again. So how'd you end up going a second time?
Well, that was 3 years later. Myung-Whan invited me to come stay with him and get stronger. I was between high school and college. So
okay.
over that summer, and I went for about 5 weeks. Well, actually, I think it was 5 weeks total. 1 week of it was just with Myung-Whan in LA. And I think
so this is when you were 18. How old were you when this happened?
18.
18.
Yeah.
And so actually, so this wasn't as long as the first time then, because the first time was 3 months.
I think that the amount of improvement might have been similar. I'm not sure.
Really? So 5 weeks in one, 3 months in the other, and you were still able to.
Well, it's hard to say because, during school and things like that, it's easy to let things slip, get rusty. So it's always, up and down. Okay. It's kind of hard to tell. It's still right now, I have some tournaments. I've been pretty busy, but I have some tournaments where I play reasonably well and some where I'm absolutely embarrassed.
Just like the rest of us. I guess that's a good thing to hear. Is this also a confusing situation?
Yes, this was definitely a mistake on my part to leave that like that.
Is it? Oh, that's good.
I probably shouldn't have played this Joseki this way in the beginning anyway.
I've seen this. Someone played this against me recently.
Yeah, it's a really uncomfortable situation because of the weakness left there. I should have protected that.
I'm sure I'll make a mistake.
Hmm.
Yeah, and well, yes, I guess you also have the 30-point whatever
Yeah, I have a lot
burden.
to make up here, and I'm giving you quite a bit of solid cash. So, yeah.
Don't worry. There's so much about this game that I keep hoping that there's something that I understand, but as I've gotten stronger, I've realized that it's like there are no more real huge revelations. There's just all these small what.
Yeah.
I guess I gotta respond to that. There are no more. There are no more like huger like revelations where I'm like, oh my god, I gotta like, oh, this is how I should be playing. I have an idea of how you're gonna ruin me, and I don't like it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting about just how it's really hard sometimes to judge, if you're getting stronger.
Yeah.
I want to counterattack so bad. I don't like that because then it means if I jump and you on underneath, it feels like you'd be able to make life rather easily. But if I protect, then you attack me. I don't want either. You know what? I'm just gonna be. I don't want to be safe,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think I'm gonna be safe. I'm gonna get the business from my teacher afterwards. So was the
That'll be interesting. She'll
yeah.
have plenty to say about what I'm doing, I'm sure.
So was your schedule when you were with Myungwang, was it sort of the same?
It was similar because I also spent a lot of the time there at a dojang run by friends of his.
Oh, so it wasn't the Professor Han dude?
No.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Is Myungwang like a pretty big celebrity back in Korea, or is he like just another pro? If that makes sense.
I mean, he's up there. It may not be. While Go is very popular there, it's still not. The term celebrity is a little bit.
Oh, it has a
It's not. That's not quite how it works. Oh, I mean, you definitely get status by being a pro, but it's.
I see.
Yeah, I wouldn't say celebrity. I mean,
Yeah.
he did like he did quite well in some big tournaments several years ago.
Okay.
So he was definitely known.
Yeah, I mean that is the funny thing about when you go to Asia. Sometimes it's like you think because that's where Go came from. You're like, oh, if I go there, there'll be places to play Go and all this. But they're the way they feel about it sometimes is like the same as Americans do about chess. Like they're like, oh yeah, that game, whatever. But it's not a huge deal, but it's not like it's not a. But it's like some people know about it, but it's not super widespread the way I guess anime or
Right.
whatever. What else makes you
Not like
believe?
anime. It's people. People don't tend to get crazy about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
But it has obviously a very large player base, and people have gotten crazy about it.
Yeah, definitely. The I want to attack you now. The way it's changed just because of Hikaru no Go is really interesting.
Yeah.
I do remember. I won't say his name just so it's not tagged with him forever. But I asked someone once, like, when certain phenomena happened, they got really popular. Like there's a basketball manga called Slam Dunk, and when that came out, everyone wanted, and their mother in Japan or in Asia in general wanted to play basketball. But then it's like it's not as big with Go, and I was like, why is that? And the pro said, "Oh, that's because basketball is cool and Go less so. But which is pretty funny, I thought. But it's also like, I feel like I'm gonna be helping your shape.
It may not matter. In no way have I made up on the 30 points.
Whatever.
We both have a lot of dame moves on the board right now.
Oh, is that? How do you see the game, by the way? Is it like really analytical and like you can pretty much understand some situations relatively easily, or is it
Some.
like? Because to me, the game looks like a big a big a big to-do list, if that makes sense. Like I've always saw it as like a to-do list. Okay, like there's a problem over there, there's a problem over there, there, and I'll get to that. And like it's sort of like Endgame is the same way for me. Like it's just like these are the things I have to take care of by the end of the game. Seriously, dude.
Hey, I have a couple outs.
Dang it. I don't know what to do.
I have 50 points to make up.
but I've wondered, like, maybe how I see the game is different than how like other people might see it. But maybe it's not. But then like hearing you say, oh, there's a lot of dame moves that are played.
Well, I feel like it was more from my perspective. I've recognized that all of those moves that I spent jumping to the center have not contributed to making me any territory, and I don't expect them to in the future either, which is kind of disturbing. So maybe something about, well, maybe it's just because of my mistake of like leaving that H17 open, or maybe it's just making the shape in the first place, but definitely something went wrong here for me. But this invasion is not good for me. I'm not sure yet.
But yeah, because I mean, I'm just gonna try and keep you split here. But yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Hold on, I'm gonna do the typical move here. But yeah, I mean, like there's the counting and the this and that, and so I've always wondered if like other people, because there's also like you see certain situations you can see, oh, the Tsuji or this endgame sequence, so it doesn't look as big as you. What are you doing, sir? As you think it is. So I was wondering, maybe you see something like you see a lot of possibilities, or you can analyze the game in a way that I might not see. So, but I guess, I mean, I know that if you play me, I might play simpler things, or might not make it as complicated as, let's say, like someone your own rank. So maybe if you played someone your own rank, it's a little bit less obvious. Does that make sense? Or not? Is that not real?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but oh, now I've got to kill you.
Kill me?
Well, you just took away my territory. I don't feel good about
it. Well, that wasn't your territory to begin with, really. It was pretty open.
See, okay, so that's you seeing something that I don't. I feel like I've made that wall. I played that Knight's approach. I played that Starpoint.
Well, once I played D2, it was hard for you to make territory at the H3 area.
I see.
So I spent a move. If you had played K2 a moment ago, after I played L2, it might have been kind of hard for me to live. I'm not sure.
That's true, but I thought this was, like, from my perspective, I thought I was keeping two groups split, and then, like, if you have to worry about one group, then the other group will suffer. But
right, I'm definitely worried about my big group up there, but I think that you might have been able to actually get more forcing moves out of it if you had blocked me at K2.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't be able to make it. I wouldn't be able to make it all the way through and connect my two groups, even if you didn't have N5. I may be able to push up there somehow, but I think I think I would have been struggling much more to live if you played K2.
Okay. Well, that's at least all my groups are relatively connected to each other, unless
Yeah.
you play something else that's ridiculous. Um,
We'll see
well,
what I
let's.
can do.
Great. That's just what I wanted to hear. I guess let's talk about. So I guess was it so the same thing with I guess the first time you did this. First time you did the
Korea.
3 month period. Yeah, the Korea period. I guess the second time you went through, you really didn't feel the progression. I think is that the same way? Like you could only maybe see it in retrospect, but you can't see it as you're doing it.
Yeah, not really. You can't really feel it. I apparently I improved quite a bit on that second trip. I noticed in terms of, like I won a little bit more, or I didn't feel stronger as I was playing, but I think my results were better.
Yeah, I see.
Um, I still felt, like uh,
The same rank you were
unsure of
before.
every move. I felt every move I was like, I'm not sure how to play, but um, then
Really?
decisions I ended up making, I guess, were better over time. So
I see.
yeah, I still definitely did not feel sure of my moves. I
Does
think
that
that I'm still, I still don't feel sure of any of my moves.
so in a way that uncertainty never goes away.
Well, so for some people it does. I think
Really?
that's a personality issue, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am in some trouble.
I'm sure you'll make do. I don't want to leave behind any weaknesses. How am I gonna? So was that? Did you go from that straight to the U.S. Pro qualifications, or was that and the Korea thing two separate occasions?
I think
Like,
I'm separate. I think
okay.
I went to the. Oh boy, I'm not sure if I remember. I think I went to the. I think the pro qualifier, the first pro qualifier I played in was the next summer after that.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
think.
I thought that was like one right after the other.
No. I went to a Go Congress immediately after getting back from Korea, but I don't think the pro was then pro
Oh,
qualifier.
okay. So I guess yeah, that segues into the pro qualifier. So when that first news came up to you, were you pretty excited about the possibilities of becoming a pro, or was just that the thought
Um,
of that not really ever occurring to you?
well, I have to be honest, I was never planning on making Go my career.
Right.
But being an American professional, it's still something that I'd like to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be good for me and maybe even good for other people. Um, but yeah, and so I tried.
Yeah, definitely. It's an interesting field, considering now it's. I mean, I think were there Canadians in the first one? Because I know what
Yeah,
Ryan Lee.
yeah.
So he wasn't in the first one, or was it not him, but someone else?
Ryan Lee was not. There was, but well, one of the people who made it the first year, Shi Ganchang. He's
Yeah, that's right. He is. I think Canadian. I think right.
yeah,
What?
yeah. I don't know about this.
I'm gonna look at this for a second. Excuse me. uh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's always like really strong players and such. So
Uh, yeah, I was sort of the weak link there.
where are you?
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah, actually, that first pro tournament, I didn't play well at all.
I see. Um, did I let you off easy here?
I wouldn't say let me off. I mean,
I'm gonna take my ill-gotten gain first, and we'll see what the next part goes like. Unless you can pull that out eventually, and then I'll just be really sad. So that's cool. So you're I guess so the first time you weren't too happy with your performance, and then
Not at all.
so here's an interesting thing. I was going to talk with Evan about this, who unfortunately, due to scheduling issues, wasn't able to make it. But he said this really interesting thing about this year's Go Congress with so many strong people showing up.
Yeah.
I said, and Andrew Jackson said, what are you, what are you expecting out of this year's Go Congress? And he said, I'm hoping to get third, which I think he did get, which is an interesting feeling. And I'm guessing the question I'm sort of wanting to get to is sort of playing a stronger player. What does that feel like at your level? And then, like, what are do you go into it like trying to get something out of it, trying to learn?
I prefer playing stronger players. I'm pretty sure that I overall play better against stronger players. And worse against weaker players. There's a lot more pressure.
I see. And when they're stronger, is it an obvious kind of strength where, like, if I place a high Don, they might whip out some sort of opening or Joseki that's new that I don't know, or they'll see it to Tsuji's I just will never be able to see. Like, what's it like when you play someone that's completely stronger? Is it sort of like, did you just like what's the feeling for you typically? Is it the same thing, or is it sort of like an all-rounder, like they're better, I just don't know
how? Usually it's, a fight starts and it goes their way.
Is that okay? So it's not like he just whips out a Joseki and you're like,
there's much less about knowing something, much more about just fighting better.
Really? So is that sort of the typical way it goes as you get stronger?
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm losing.
Are you? I don't like what's happened.
Really? You got a pretty big chunk there.
Well, okay, I've had that chunk.
Pretty good chunk right there.
That's true. But then we can't say that this is because of the 30 point. Yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna think that I'm actually playing really well or anything. But you did say you play worse against weaker players. So
right.
Roll me.
I don't think that's not my primary excuse for this game.
I actually don't know what to do here. What should I do? I guess I could try pulling out that one black stone. But I feel like if I pull that out and you chase me, then you'll run right into that chunk that I've made, and I don't know how much I'm saving. I have that problem. So when you play a stronger player, are you looking to learn, or does that, or?
Well, I think I have a better chance of winning, and it's always more fun to beat someone that's stronger than you.
Oh, so it's sort of like rising to a challenge.
Yeah, and not feeling like every moment, if I lose, I'll be embarrassed,
Wow, I guess you really struggle with that. I mean, I have the same thing where if I play a game bad and I show it to my teacher, I'm always worried like, oh, I'm gonna get yelled at. This is not gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is an interesting thing to deal with losses and just say, well, maybe this is the best I could do, or maybe I can do better. Or, sometimes, like I do, I try and find an excuse. So who knows?
Right.
So why did I do this? I thought I was doing something good. I'm helping you make territory. That's not good. Well, there's no territory there. Maybe I should just jump. You know what? I'm just gonna jump out and see what you do.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna go back and do exactly what I originally wanted to do.
Hmm.
But that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, some people. I don't think it was Evan. I think it was another pro said, it's. I don't mind like playing weaker players if it means I have an easier time winning a tournament.
Hmm.
Because I was like, oh, you have all these, strong players. Aren't you excited? It's like, no, it means I have a hard time to win. And I
Yeah,
guess,
if I'm playing only against people that are stronger than me, then I'm just like, I can just do my best and not worry about it. If I'm playing against someone that I know I should beat, then I think
Mhm.
I play worse.
Oh, I see. Have you tried to do anything to sort of counteract that anxiety, or is it just inherent into just how you've been playing no matter what?
I've not had much success dealing with that.
I see. That's an interesting sort of anxiety. I like my so in my history, like getting stronger and stuff like that, I used to really, really, really like playing stronger players just because I thought I would be able to learn something from doing that.
Mhm.
And I these days I don't, and for a number of reasons that I'll get into. But like some of it is like sometimes they'll play something really smart, but I won't understand it. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Like they'll like the reason I lost either might be so basic as like, hey, this, don't do that, or like I don't even know what I did wrong, but clearly I did something wrong.
Mhm.
And so it's an interesting problem. Um, and so, but also like I've stopped doing that. Like first of all, so the first reason is just that maybe I'm not going to learn anything out of it, even though I thought I would.
Mhm.
The second thing was a pro once told me to play people my own rank, so I get the feeling of winning. Because if I play against a stronger player, then you're almost gonna assume, well, maybe I won't win. At least that's how I felt about it. And
Right.
so it's interesting that you have this feeling of like, well, I'll be embarrassed if I lose, and it's more interesting if I win against a stronger player. Whereas the pro who talked to me about it once was like, um, no, you need to have that willingness to scrap and fight for the win, and know that you have a chance when it's a person closer to your rank.
Hmm. No, I always feel I always feel like I have a chance.
Oh, okay.
But see, when you're playing against someone weaker than you, just feeling like you have a chance is not good enough.
Huh.
It's because, well, if I could play the same way that I do when I play against stronger players, maybe it wouldn't be a problem. But my mindset is never, that I'll just play, do my best. No matter how hard I try, it's always something different than I'll just do my best, and I know I always have a chance.
Interesting.
I think that's probably the mindset in which I play the best, but it's definitely not.
Definitely feels different than a typical like. It feels unfair since to completely compare it against it, but like a pro mindset. What? I Matt, why you do this to me?
I gotta try something.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna cut first and worry later. It like pro mindset seems to like really dislike the concept of losing and this and that, and they really want to win. Like one of like the pro I talked about this whole feeling to win. I said, what's your favorite part of Go? And his answer was just, I like winning. Like that's what I like the most. Like it wasn't some like flowery speak of oh the this and that. It's like no, I just like winning. And
It depends. I think for myself and I think a lot of pros, not all of them, but uh, everybody likes winning, but
right.
um, not just pros. A lot of players just really like playing a good game, and whether they win or lose doesn't really matter. But if it was a good game, it feels good.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that way because like you win and lose sometimes you can identify it and it feels like it feels dumb that this is the reason why I lost. And then, but then it's like, it's really hard to define what a good game is. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like, like losing by half a point. Like, is that a good game?
Yeah, that feels bad. If I lost by half a point because of something dumb I did, then it doesn't feel good. But
Yeah,
if it was just a tough game until the end and I lose by half a point, yeah, I'll feel bad, but
you'll deal.
I'll deal with it. And especially if it was a good game.
That's interesting. Oh, your reading is going to be so much better than me in here. Maybe I can I can't even live here, can I? No, if I do this L9, this is great because you're stronger than me. I can tell you what I'm thinking and it doesn't affect you at all. Because it's like either you already saw it and it's like, oh yeah, or like you know that it's wrong and it's just like, yeah, whatever. But oh crap. Okay, tell you what, if you can make this fine, it's gonna be. We'll just call it game. It probably is game over at that point, but
it would be
not good.
Close.
But that way, for purposes of length, we don't have to go too far. But yeah, that's an interesting thing about the whole winning and losing, good game or bad game. I think for me, maybe like the games I find more interesting are the ones where I don't understand what happened. And I think that's just because of my strength, and you I don't know so much, so it's more interesting for me to say, oh, what did go wrong, like it. And when I know that it's something I don't understand, I'm able to accept the loss a little bit better. But I would assume that as you get stronger, maybe you're able to identify everything a little bit better than like I would. And so maybe that's why maybe it's harder to identify what's a good game or what's a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good loss or a bad loss or what have you.
Right. I unfortunately do find that it's hard for me to go a game without doing something that I feel was kind of dumb. So
yeah, you will always notice like mistakes for sure. But I mean, like, yeah. Well, here's an interesting thing because like I was talking with Andrew Jackson about this, and feel free to play whenever you see the move. And like whereas like I guess for me and also just generally players, oh gosh. For me and like a lot of people, like a lot of pros stress just really focusing on the middle game and a lot of the fighting because that's where it is. And so and a lot of the opening doesn't come into play as much because it's like, why worry about this one Joseki compared to that Joseki if your middle game mistake is like it just loses you the game.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that way, but then I'm wondering if like the same thing. I doubt that really applies to you, does it? Or does it still have some?
It's most games are still won and lost in the mid game.
So there's not like a time when you'll say like you'll show the game and they'll be like, it was because of like no one will be like, oh, it's because of your opening.
No.
Really? So
almost never. Usually, I mean, you can get behind in the opening, but the losing move was
still the middle game.
Generally, yeah, something to do with either just a blunder or a direction of play thing in the mid game where and sometimes the opening can set that up, but it's usually you could have had a fighting chance still no matter what coming out of the opening.
So okay, so yeah, like for me, not my teacher, my pro, the one of the pros I talked to said, for amateur games, like a 10-point loss in a joseki might as well not exist, and which I heard and just like it was like, but also I guess maybe I forgot what the point threshold just in general, but you know, a 10-point difference in the opening, yeah, it's fine. Whereas so I'm wondering if that's the same for you then.
10 points hurts,
Right.
and you know, I think I'm closer to the level at which I can say, okay, I'm 10 points ahead. I don't have to fight quite as hard right here. I'll play the safer move. You know, I can do that a little bit,
Yeah.
but definitely 10 points will not win a game.
Wow. That's actually the interesting thing, but like that, wow, that really talks about the level of between an amateur and yeah, well, because there was
top pros, they can, if someone gets ahead by, three or 4 points, they can usually just hang on to it, and have like a 90% win by at least half point,
So yeah, I guess that
they know how to play with risk. See, because the game at this point, even among the top pros, they still have to make decisions based on risk. They can't read everything. They can see whether something is riskier, whether they need to fight, or whether they have a move that might give the opponent a little bit of, a couple of points back, but is much safer. They still have to do that sort of risk analysis.
Huh. Really interesting.
That's something that I wasn't aware of really before. Myung-Won was teaching me about that.
Oh, so he at least at the very least he started.
The best move in a game is not the move that gets you the most points. It's the move that gets you the most certainty of a win.
Whoa. You just blew my mind.
Oh yeah?
Okay, well that's today's new. God darn it.
You want to stop here?
No. I'm just saying that's the latest Go revelation that I would have never thought of on my own.
Huh. Yeah, it's intuitive after you hear it, but definitely people don't think about it that way when they're playing.
Yeah, because I always thought, it's about points, so you just want to play the biggest move. But I guess if it's so risky that it's not worth it, then you wouldn't want to do that.
Then the stronger you are, the better you are at recognizing risk.
Am I gonna die here, sir?
I don't know.
Wow, that's so
words too much.
All right, hold on. I gotta click something on my. Click that, and we are back.
I don't think you're gonna die. I'm dead.
But I gotta extend my liberty somehow, so we're gonna do this move. But that's pretty cool. That's definitely the latest revelation. I get so many wonderful little revelations from you in terms of like learning. Like long time ago, you told me about like the importance of attacking was really interesting because you said, I can attack this, but I don't know what I'm going to gain from it.
Uh-huh.
And how strong was I? I was like still a Q, I think. But when I heard that was like such a crazy thing to hear. Like, oh, that's right. Like, you can't just attack without, just hoping for something, you can't just attack on for no reason. You have to hope to get something out of it. And I was like, oh. And then, of course, my favorite thing I've asked you once was, I think I said, is this like this every time? And your response was, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Oh, God.
Which I was just like, I would love to see. It's an interesting thing. I mean, all our teachers, yours and mine, are all Asian based. And so it's a lot of Go terms are very hard to translate from a very Asian background to an American background. It would be so cool for someone out there to really be able to translate some of these things, or how you're supposed to think about it into like sort of like an American thought process. Which, like, one of my things is, am I gonna kill you? By the way, I'm just wondering.
I'm not certain yet.
Okay, so you're looking at it. Cool. One of the things I always had an issue with, and it's actually sort of because of also the Chinese translation of it is attacking, and sometimes in Chinese when they say attack, they use the word kill, but they're meaning attack,
right?
And so for the longest, I had this huge issue. Like, but you said kill. It's like, no. When I said kill, I meant attack. It's like, but you're using the word kill. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's how us Chinese people talk. And it's like, not helping. But I almost feel the same way about attacking, because attacking has such a specific emotion, if that makes sense, attached to it, that when you say someone says attacking, you don't really think about it's like you're not really trying to kill it. Sometimes you're just trying to get something out of it. So like one of the things I thought there'll be another way of saying it would be like, instead of attacking, it's sort of like pestering it.
Yeah,
because you're not.
That's a good point.
Because attacking sort of feels like, okay, you're gonna do something, but if you say pester it, you're just annoying it in a way, and then you're gonna hopefully gain something else out of it. But I mean, that's
threatening. You usually, when you attack something, you're threatening to do something to it and forcing it to respond in a way that lets you accomplish something elsewhere, or I mean, not really elsewhere, but nearby. Usually.
Interesting. Yeah. And the funny thing is, these are all middle game things. None of these are like, like so many people.
Yeah, opening is its own complicated animal.
Yeah.
That I'm, still not great at.
That's a shame.
Maybe not middle game either. This isn't looking so good.
Of course, if I have to spend a bunch of moves to kill this, it's not exactly good for me points wise, is it?
Well, I would have, if I were going to lose it anyway, I would have preferred to just play P8 and then Q7 and get some cash on the right or something like that.
I see.
Instead of pushing you down into.
Well, I mean, for purposes of length, if you feel like it's, I mean, if you want to try and see this thing out, I'm more than willing, but it's up to you.
Take.
So let's see. So that's the first Pro Go tournament. And then did you participate in the second one?
Did I? No, not the second, but the third.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a third?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, there's only, how many US pros are there? There's, okay, four. And then there's two
in the first year.
Okay. So there's Andy Liu, Gang Shen. Wow, I just don't know my Go news.
Calvin and
that's right, Calvin. But that's only four.
Yeah.
So but you said there's been three tournaments, right?
Yeah, three tournaments, but only the first one elected two.
Oh, okay, and then it's been one each.
This one, and then one each of the next ones.
I see. So how did you feel about that when you did it the second time for the third pro selection?
I didn't start off very well, but I ended up being the only person in that tournament to take a game off of Ryan. So it ended up being a success for me.
Yeah, that was mission accomplished.
I think I played reasonably well those games. Not the early ones, definitely not. I went like 0-7 to start. But then I got, I won those games. Or I won a game against Ryan, and then I managed to, get a little lucky, but then win my next couple against Daniel Gordeau.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was in the end, it was a successful tournament. I
So
didn't destroy my confidence.
so I guess in a way you have pretty realistic expectations when you go into these things or something?
Unfortunately, I think my expectations are. I might do a little better if I had a little bit higher expectations. Definitely realistic. I'm very realistic.
So you don't walk in thinking I'm going to be the next US pro
Oh
or
no,
really? Wow. So
no.
that's got to be weird for your psyche in terms of going in there like and that's like I said like sort of like I guess Evan was sort of the same way when he just said, I'm aiming for third. It's like
Uh-huh.
that's got to be so weird to think like I want third place. Like on some level that is true. I was expecting this. On some level that is true. You can't but well, here's an interesting thing. I talked to Tang Yuling from which was the pro from China that showed up to
Mhm.
the US Open this year. And I asked him, like how he feels about it. And he said the thing he said was like a lot of these people have a chance. Like if I play them like in one game, there's a chance that they could win. But like over a period of time, there's a chance that I will come out ahead in terms of
Mhm.
in games we played. Sort of like you might win like 7 out of 10, but there's that chance still exists. Is that sort of like what you're sort of looking for and hoping for in terms of like when you play a stronger player then? Or am I just looking too far into
No,
it?
no. When I play a stronger player, I mean, even though I kind of know like he's more likely to win than I am,
Uh-huh.
I really get in the game and just focus, on playing the best I can in the game. And usually, when I'm in that mode, I have um, I'm usually proud of something that I did in that game. I was like, oh, I thought of that, and nobody taught me to do that, but I found this interesting thing, and I do it, so I still lose most of the time against stronger players, but I think I do better overall.
You find a victory.
I find some victory in there, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Maybe that's because I had so there are stronger players at my Go club, and like, and this actually funnily enough, this little kid showed up recently, and he was stronger, and then and I it it's the moment of humbleness where like yeah I probably won't win this, but I've got to try pretty hard, and I was I guess it's the same thing. You have to find your small victory if the odds are against you.
Hmm.
So it's interesting. Cool, cool, cool. What you doing? Okay, if I don't connect, I don't have enough liberties, do I? If I do that and you cut, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then me taking away your liberties means I'm taking away my. I can't count. I hate this so much. You know what? This is the last thing, right? This will, for better or worse, let's just make this the last thing,
Okay.
which I guess makes you want to do extra hard and play this extra good. But it's interesting. Hmm. So is most of your Go learning now a lot of just self-study?
Well, I've been kind of busy for a while, so it's
But if you were going to like spend time like trying to get better, would you be
I would probably look at pro games.
so how much of the let's talk about this. How much of the pro games when you look at do you understand? Like because I once looked at a thing where they talked about it and they were saying and this pro is analyzing why he played one move over, like just that one line difference. And
Hmm.
he played out a huge, long variation that I would have.
I'll definitely miss stuff like that.
Okay, so
But that's not always,
the case.
that's not always the case, and so I'll probably miss a lot of things like that, but there's a lot more, there's uh so yeah, I'm sure that there are many cases where I don't know why he played here instead of one line over, but there is a lot that I still can understand too.
Now, at what is there a rank that you feel like that's when you started understanding it, or I mean, do you think at every rank it's sort of you might have had that chance, or was there always something to learn?
There's something to learn at every rank.
Okay, maybe I should spend some time looking at programs. I don't know, like I don't.
It definitely helps to have someone that can go over those programs with you too.
Is that what happened at the Korean?
Or definitely with Myung-Won. He goes over the programs with us.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hurry up and kill me.
Oh gosh.
Or not. I mean. Can you answer this one interesting question for me? Why is it that so many people, be it high dons or high dons on KGS or something, they typically all like to play Blitz games?
I'm not sure.
You're not part of that happy crowd?
No, yes, I am. Unfortunately, I'm a very poor Blitz player, but I've found that a lot of the time it's because it's just I feel like I don't have time, right? I don't have time to dedicate, to be sure that I can spend the next 2 hours playing this game. So I'm just gonna play a game where I know it'll be done in less than 10 minutes. And then, but see, the funny thing is, this is more a talk about procrastinating. It's much easier to procrastinate on a lot of small things than to actually dedicate 2 hours of procrastination at a time. So,
that's easy.
I think that I don't know if that's the same for all the other Blitz players. I'm sure some of them, but
I always thought it was just like, I thought maybe it was like the basics were good enough, so maybe they didn't have, like, unless they wanted to, they didn't have to.
Very strong players, that's the case, and some people are just better at Blitz. But it's I'm definitely not at the level where I 5 seconds is long enough to think properly about anything.
Yeah,
and I wonder if some people think that they can think that quick, but actually can't.
I always thought it was
really you have to be stronger. You have to be stronger than me before you're really at the level where you can make thoughtful moves in fast games.
Yeah,
that's at least a couple levels up from where I am, where you can really make thoughtful moves when you're playing quickly.
Yeah, there was an interesting thing I saw where I think this European pro or European player, we'll just say he's a strong European player, played like this really high level Asian pro Don level person. Wow, I just said that completely wrong. But a pro, a Chinese pro,
mm-hmm.
And it was like just a 10-second game. But I forgot if there was like a huge burden that the pro was shouldering in terms of like points or handicap zones or something. But yeah, the pro just was able to do it. I was able to win really easily. So maybe that is
really fast games. Pros have a really big advantage. There's a sort of I don't know if you remember. It's almost like a legend at this point, but way back on IGS,
mm-hmm.
when that was the the only Go server, there was a player on the server with the username TOBE, so like Tobe.
Okay.
Who was very good at fast games and could, at the time, the 6 Dons on that server were, it was Six downs were very strong players on the server at the time. Rank. There's been a lot of rank inflation since then, but six downs were quite strong. But I don't remember the exact numbers, but basically he could just, in fast games, he could just crush them. He could give them absurd like 5-6 stone handicaps and win against them if they were playing like 1 to 2 second per move games.
Wow.
Or even I heard from, I don't know if you know of Trevor Morris, who actually, he said he played a game against him. Trevor Morris was 6 stone at the time. He lost in a 9 stone game against Kobe. But it was like 1 second a move or something. So in really fast games, very strong players, their advantage goes up and up.
Interesting. Hurry up and play a move.
Oh, sorry. I think I have to.
Let's see what else.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really think I can't think of anything else to talk about. Actually, I've got another one, but I'll wait. Hurry up and play.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna play right.
What?
Maybe I miscounted.
Wait, does that mean I'm dead?
No.
So wait, are we? Okay, hold on. All right, so.
Oh, what are the options, right? Is it?
That's true.
Death, life, and
Seki.
Yeah. Maybe I miscounted. I'm not sure.
Are you saying that you can get Seki there?
Yeah, look at all those internal liberties.
Well, okay. Let's do this then, just for interest of time and everything, because I don't want to make it like a 2-hour go talk. I will try and kill you, and you try. Huh?
Oh, is that okay?
And then you will try and make Seki, and if you either kill me and whatever happens from that, we'll just let that be the game.
Cool.
Is that fine?
Sounds good.
Because this is interesting, and then I will provide the final topic for you. So, okay, I'm just gonna start filling in liberties. So I would say what you got pretty strong. What the hell? At a pretty young age.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
You got pretty strong at a really young age. And
reasonably strong. There are a lot of current young players that have gotten stronger much quicker. I think the environment for them
is there with teachers and such.
Yeah, I think, and I think that I mean, we were involved in the Go community a lot, but it was always an interesting activity that we ultimately did for fun.
Right. Well, the question I'm going to ask about is this. So, because I started much later, I started in my 20s, and you started just basically as a kid. I always wondered with play a move, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, you're figuring it out? Okay. So I always wondered, in a way, how can I say this? When I started much later, and as I progressed, in a way, I had the interest, a way of like seeing myself progress in terms of Go. And I had that feeling of progression where it was like, okay, it's really, did you really? You really did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's finish up this topic, and then we'll call it a wrap. But I'm gonna hit the resign button. But
no, you'd still win with the 30 points.
You think so?
Maybe, I'm not certain of it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hit resign, so that way there's not a huge problem.
Okay. Thank you,
So
man.
yes, thank you. Let me hit OK on this, and then we'll just leave this up while we talk. So because of that, I was able to remember being 15Q, 10Q, 5Q, 3Q, 1Q, all the way up.
Yeah.
And so I had this wonderful feeling of progression. And you got strong at a relatively early age. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm wondering if you can remember being weak. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So you can still remember it. It's not like something so far away that like you're like, oh, like I've only known to be strong. In a way,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah. I remember the whole thing. I actually was not. There are people who improved really quickly. I mean, we all, or maybe don't, we all don't, but I remember Mo Zhang.
Mm-hmm.
He went from nothing to 6 Dan in 1 year.
Buh. That hurts my brain. I can't imagine that.
I it was very gradual for me. Let me see if I can remember. The 1997 Congress, I was 20Q.
Okay.
Um,
How old were you then?
1998 Congress. So I was 97. I was 6 years old.
Okay.
98, 14Q or so.
Uh-huh.
99, 5Q.
Okay. So there was an explosion then.
2000, I was low, somewhere in the low Qs. 2001, I was probably, 1 or 2 Dan. Let's see, when did Kristen go to college? I think we were both 1 Dan when she went to college.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing
it was, it was so because I had started young, when people saw a 9-year-old that was 1 Dan or whatever I was, maybe 9 or 10, that was like I was pretty strong for my age, but it happened over the course of like 5 years.
I see. But it is an interesting thing because I always felt it's a weird feeling to think that maybe you lose that opportunity to feel progression. Because I mean, like, because when you see that number tick up, when like I'm a Q, like I'm a 15Q, then I'm a 10Q, a 5Q. You can feel a wonderful, like I can see the progress. But then if you're spending 5 to 6 years always at 5 Dan, you might still be getting stronger, but that tick from 5 Dan to 6 Dan is so takes a long time that it's like do you actually get that feeling of like that cool feeling of progression that maybe I always used to think maybe the weakers the people who get strong at a young age don't know it or don't remember it or don't even get to feel it. So
I felt it. It was all part of because it was gradual. It was maybe I was done improving quickly by the time I was 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
But there was still some improvement after that.
Oh, cool.
And even if I'm actually way stronger than when I was 6 Dan first going to Korea. I can feel that, even though my rank is still even only it's 6.92.
Right.
I knew that I'm way stronger than I was then. I feel almost as if I was 6 Dan just on a gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my teacher once said that once. There's a difference between a 1 Dan that's like a solid 1 Dan and a shaky 1 Dan. And so I talked about it, my teacher once, like, I was 1Q when I first met you, and it's still 1Q on this. What is this? And she's like, well, you were a shaky 1Q at that point, and then you're a strong 1Q at this point, and so on and so forth. So it's an interesting thing to think about because that is also a form of progression.
Sometimes your improvements don't quickly manifest in rating improvements either.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
that's a whole other
I'm
talk
still
about.
waiting. I'm still waiting on my 8 Dan. It's just gonna spring out of me while I'm doing other things. I don't know, but
I think that's a good place to stop.
right.
And when that springs out, then we'll have a wonderful congratulatory
Yeah.
episode about that. I guess that's it for us. If you enjoyed watching this, do the usual like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Matt, for being able to do this and playing a wonderful game with us. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you later for both the 0.5 review and then, for other future episodes. Thanks again. Say bye to everyone, Matt.
Bye.